Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we're doing the crossword for Sunday, August 4th, 2024. So, did you do the crossword?
I did.
And what did you think?
It was a fun Sunday afternoon solve.
Oh, good. Because I know the last couple of crosswords have been sort of tough.
Yes, it was a pleasure doing this one.
Well, good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And it was a pretty typical Sunday, wouldn't you say? You know, in terms of difficulty and theme and etc.
I thought the theme was a little easier than usual.
Oh,
Because as you'll explain when you talk about the theme, it was sort of there were long phrases that were sort of obvious once you saw where they were going with it.
Right.
So that helped, I think. But other than that, yeah, I agree. It was sort of typical. I made my typical mistake, and so as usual, I had to go hunting for it.
Oh dear.
And I always have to remember it's something that I think is correct, but is not. Although in this case, I really wasn't sure about what the issue was. It was actually 79 down. Certain Caribbean islander, and I had trine, Trine, and that crossed with 108 across, and that was seventh notes on scales, and I had T's, do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, but I spelled it T-E-S, because it sounded right.
It's T-I.
But it was, I know that now. And Trini, I don't know what Trini is referring to.
Someone from Trinidad.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I need to go traveling there just so I'll remember the name.
Oh, sounds good to me. Let's go.
Wonder if we could make that a tax-deductible trip. Probably not. All right.
Well, it's interesting. I ended up in that same part of the puzzle, and my problem was 80 down, which was lines for which x equals 0. And I put y-axis, and I should have put y-axis instead of an I and an E. So the 102 across, which was a brand of hydrating drops,
Right.
was not a Visine, it was Visine.
Yes.
So that was, I found that pretty quickly.
So did you, you don't, but you do recognize the brand name is Visine.
Oh, yes.
Okay, right.
Yeah. But I wasn't really paying much attention to the crosses because I had pretty much filled that in with the downs. So.
Yes, I was looking for my mistake. You know, sometimes you can parse things incorrectly. Like in this case, I looked at it and I thought, yaxes, oh, clearly there's a mistake. And then I read the clue again. It's like, oh, yes, y-axis. Okay.
Yes. Well, you know, it said hydrating drops. And I was thinking like cough drops, you know, that kind of lubricate your throat. So I thought Luddens, we've had that before, Luddens cough drops.
Okay.
Or a grick, isn't there something like a Gricola, but it's sort of something like that. But it turned out to be eye drops by Zine.
Yeah. When I see hydrating, I don't think of cough drops as.
Well, I didn't.
They
either.
sort of soothe.
I didn't either, but that is kind of what they do. They, you know, kind of lubricate your
Right.
your
Yeah,
throat
that's
and
true.
Cause you to, you know, produce saliva. So.
Right. And of course, if the answers were obvious, it wouldn't be much of a crossword.
No.
So we want to have a little bit of ambiguity there.
Right.
By the way, I want to just remind listeners, as we are talking about this crossword, remember you can go to xwordinfo.com, and if you check the Sunday crossword, you'll see the entire grid filled out with the clues. And so if you're trying to follow along, that's an excellent place to go.
Yep.
And thus endeth our ad, completely unsolicited, for xwordinfo.com.
It's a very interesting site.
It is. And in fact, we always have a link to it in our show notes. Somewhere in the description, that first link is going to be an Xword Info link. But there was a theme in this crossword.
There was a theme, and for me, it seemed like a pretty typical theme where for Sunday, where they have kind of obscure question, and then the answer is a common phrase that's not really what the clue was talking about. It's used in a different context, more commonly, but it does answer the clue. And so the theme for this puzzle was weatherman with an exclamation point. So all of the answers were common phrases used when describing the weather.
Right.
Like something a weather person would say if you were watching the weather or listening to the weather on TV or radio. And so, but the questions were really crazy, out there kinds of ideas. But they did go together with the answers. So.
And they were very funny.
And they were funny. They were kind of punny, but they were very amusing. Yes. The first one was 23 across. High chance of parties celebrating a baby's arrival, and the answer to that was showers likely.
Yeah.
And then we had 42 across, which was like one's mental state before morning coffee, and that was mostly cloudy, which is true. For me, anyway, 52 across, terrible TV reception, and that was heavy snow.
Right.
71 across, what you might find on the counter after making ice cream sundaes. I thought this was very funny. Isolated sprinkle.
Yes.
So, then we had 103 across, which was the road not taken, enjoyed over breakfast, and that was Morning Frost. Of course, that poem was written by Robert Frost, so Morning Frost. And then finally 125 across, smashing clarinets and oboes, and that was damaging winds.
Yes.
I got that one even before I looked at how many squares. I thought, it's got to have something to do with the wind. No,
right.
Damaging winds, yes.
And apparently this was the favorite clue of the crossword constructors, Scott Hogan and Katie Hale.
What, the damaging winds?
Damaging winds.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
funny.
There was also 94 across.
Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, that was a funny one, too. 94 across. Eclectic holiday party playlist, wintry mix.
Yep. Yes. So just sort of a nice, fun crossword. And when you got to see parts of it, you could sort of tell where it was going.
Right.
So, like, for instance, I got likely pretty easy out of the showers likely because they did have high chance.
Right.
And then I sort of worked back into showers. I had a little trouble in that corner. One across was phooey, and I had darn it.
Me too. That's
Really?
how I started.
Okay. And then eventually I think I got to rats. And
yes, that was the correct.
The correct answer for one across. But one down was sounds from a mat. And I went for ows. Because I figure if you're on a mat, maybe you're doing exercise or being beaten up. And so I had ows, but I had to take that W and flip it upside down because it was ohms.
That's correct. Yes.
So, let's see. 13 across, a fluid holder. Boy, I came up with urn and then tin.
I started with urn.
And then I went for tin.
Oh.
And then I went for can.
Whoa.
And eventually I coalesced around the correct answer, which was sack.
Yeah, I just went from urn to sack.
Oh, that's good. And then, boy, I had can in there. It was very hard to answer 13 down. Social programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and disability insurance collectively, safety net.
That's right.
I had it starting with a C, and I'm like, I think they're these cafe standards, but I think that has to do with automobile fuel emissions or something like that. I'm not quite sure what, but
I don't know.
In any event, it was safety net.
Yes. I learned two new things in this puzzle.
Good.
First of all, 33 across, member of a grungy Gen Z subculture. E-boy. I have never heard that word before. E-boy.
I think that's some sort of an electrified lazy boy, but I'm not sure.
Yes. And the other one was 48 across. Stare in astonishment. GAWP.
Yep.
GAWP.
And we have definitely had that before.
GAWP. I thought of gawk, And I thought of GAWP,
right?
but it was GAWP.
It's such a fun word. It sounds like something you would find in a toy store. I'll have some GAWP, please. It first appeared, by the way, so it's appeared a total of 14 times in the New York Times crossword.
That's not really very many.
No, but it did appear last year, almost exactly 1 year ago on August 18th. And the clue there was rubberneck. Ooh, that was by Cameron Austin Collins, a name that still continues to strike fear, at least in mine, in my heart. And it was first used in 1953. The clue was stare, dial. I guess that's dialect? And it was by George Henderson.
Dialect, yeah.
So, GAWP.
GAWP.
Quit your gawping.
So maybe that's more familiar in another country, or I don't know. But I mean, if he sort of clarified that by saying dialect.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that means. Actually, I'm not even in. I'm willing to bet it's dialect. I suppose it could be like dial tone, but that makes no sense.
No.
So we'll just move right away from that.
Okay.
27 across. I was delighted to find a clue, the answer to which, so 27 across, casino fixture was ATM.
Right.
Another clue that led to ATM that I would not have.
I don't think I've ever seen it in association with a casino.
Right.
They are definitely there.
I guess for those people who believe in cash. 30 across was a little bit, and that was sorta.
Sorta, yes.
Sorta. That was a sort of good. No, actually, it was a very good clue.
Not a real word, but it gets into the crossword.
And 15 down was amusing. Line on an autograph with a space between auto and graph, and it was car sales.
Right.
That was, I thought, nice. I panicked at 65 down. 65 down, if I can find 65 down, was Babe in the 100-Acre Wood. And it was 3 letters long, and I went for pig because I was thinking of pig. I was thinking of piglet.
Oh, no, it's Roo.
It turns out to be Roo.
Roo was the baby.
Well, I don't know. I don't really know
kangaroo.
how old Piglet was.
She is ancient.
Really?
No, I don't know. I really don't know. That's sort of in the same territory as 64 across, which was another thing I'd never heard. High-pitched bird calls are called chirrups. Chirrups.
No, it's chirrup, chirrup. You haven't heard that before? Chirrup, chirrup.
Well, I didn't know that's what they were called. Chirrups.
Well, I mean, it's almost in the sound. Here,
Well,
I will now
is.
do my famous bird imitation. Chirrup, chirrup, chirrup.
Oh, that's such a high-pitched sound.
Chirrup, chirrup. That's as high as I can go. And then I break into Mickey Mouse.
That's, I guess, yeah.
Yes, cheer up. Actually, they're probably trying to tell the people in the forest, hey, cheer up, cheer up.
Perhaps.
And it got misinterpreted. 53 down was place to get a pricey cab. And, I sort of had an intuition that they were going for the, Cabernet.
Right.
But it was Napa.
Yeah.
So
I figured that's what it was. Then I thought, no, it's probably not Napa. I don't know that all the wines coming out of Napa are pricey, but it was.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with the price of wines anywhere. We had 45 down, which we've had before. Forcefully throw in modern slang, yeet. I have yeet to find an opportunity to use the word yeet.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that will change eventually.
Well, maybe as you were talking about the Olympics that you've been watching, you could say, my, that shot putter can really yeet.
There's been a lot of yeeting happening there.
There certainly has.
I saw one video of someone throwing a javelin, and I thought they were about to skewer a cameraman.
Oh my goodness!
But apparently, they did not, which is good. Otherwise, we would have heard more about it, I'm sure.
Yes. We had 90 across. Again, a non-word in the crossword. Informal beckoning. Come here.
Oh, come on. That's a word. Come here.
Come
here.
here.
People use that all the time. Come here.
I know they use it all the time, but it's not really a word.
It should be. It should be a word. We should check the OED. If it's in the OED, it's a word.
I would be interested in seeing how many of those non-words have, how the numbers of non-words in the crossword have changed over the years, because it just seems like it's growing.
That would be a very difficult calculation
it would
to do.
be. You'd have to go through every clue, but every answer.
If only there was some genius programmer who ran a site like xwordinfo.com that has all those words. But what you'd have to do is you'd have to take every day, and then you'd have to have a computer decide whether or not it was a real word.
Right.
So it would be fun though.
It'd be interesting for sure.
Jim, if you're listening, have at it. I think it's Jim Horn. I believe that's the name of the person who runs it. What else did we have that was interesting? 54 across was Madden of Fashion. Steve.
Yes.
Isn't there a Madden who was a sports commentator?
Well, it's, I thought that was just, maybe it is Steve. Well, it is Steve Madden. I think it's the same person, because I think...
Really?
Well, no, I shouldn't say that, because I know I've looked at like Steve Madden shoes. They're not all like athletic shoes or anything like that, but yeah, I've seen the name in association with shoes. I don't know what else Steve Madden does fashion-wise.
Well, here's the problem with looking at Madden. Mm-hmm. All you find is references to the game. So we'll... nope. Every single reference was to Madden, the game.
Here, I got him.
Oh.
Steve Madden is an American fashion designer and businessman. Founded Chief Executive Officer of Steve Madden Limited, a publicly traded company.
It's John Madden. John Madden was a football coach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I wonder if they're any relation.
I don't know.
Let's see. What else? Oh, 57 down I thought was sort of interesting. February 14th and March 17th, e.g., name days.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, name days, not name. I wanted it to be named days. But have you ever heard of name days before?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So
okay.
They're just,
days with names.
Days where it's some sort of name with the word day after it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Veterans Day or Labor Day or... Easter's not a name day because you don't say Easter Day. But
so Christmas is a name day?
Well, usually you just say Christmas. Some people say Christmas.
It has to be a day with. It has to be a holiday that has day in the name,
or just a election day.
Right.
So
I still find it interesting that it's present tense name day rather than named day.
Oh.
But I guess that's just me.
Name day.
Did you get the violin right? 61 across. Maker of precious violins, Amati?
Well, I thought of Strad first.
That's what I went for.
But I had, I thought, the letters. I think I had the M. So.
Well, that pretty.
No, I can't remember what I had. Maybe I had the A, the second A. Yes. Oh. Because 29 down, I thought that was kind of an interesting clue. Mouth-watering stuff, saliva.
Yeah, that's sort of disgusting, but anyway.
So I had that A there, so I thought, it's Strad, but then it's like, well, Strad wouldn't fit there.
Right.
Because the A's in the wrong place. So I thought, I'm just going to leave it blank. And then when I got the M, then I'm like, it's Amati.
Right. Yeah, there's pretty much two choices there when it comes to ancient violins. Mm-hmm. Ancient and expensive ones, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's see, 82 across, 82 down. Methinks online was IMHO, in my humble opinion. I like that phrase. Methinks.
Methinks.
I can hear the Britishness in it.
Yep.
104 down was interesting. Animals that can grow lungs after being born. Newts.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's sort of amazing.
It's like, how can they be born without lungs? Or do they breathe? But
I don't know. Sort of a mystery to me.
Something to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
So. Mm-hmm.
attention had been drawn to a book by a Czech writer named Karl Čapek, I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced, called War with the Newts. And it's sort of a dystopian future sort of story. And I'm planning.
Are they really fighting newts?
I don't know. But I am planning to read the book when I get a chance. Mm-hmm. War with Newts, and it's just sort of an interesting coincidence that newts showed up in the grid today.
Yeah.
Let's see. 91 down was removes as from a draft, edits out.
Right.
That was good.
Yes.
And have you heard of the writer, let's see, 98 across, photographer Arbus? And the answer was DIANE.
It seems like I've heard that name, but I'm not familiar with her work.
She just sort of takes pictures of ordinary people.
Oh.
And so, anyway, DIANE Arbus.
Okay.
And let's see, last one, 132 across. Shrub with small yellow flowers was rue.
Yes.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
So, all right. Well, this was a fine crossword. Great theme. Fun clues everywhere. Mm-hmm. And again, it was by Scott Hogan, his 4th, and Katie Hale, her 11th New York Times crossword.
Very good.
Yes. And they've collaborated 3 times, apparently. And they've all been Sundays.
Oh, very good.
So, right. All right. Well, that is it for today then. So, thanks everyone for listening. Hope you're enjoying these podcasts. Remember, you can always get a hold of us, crosswordpodcast at icloud.com. And we will be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.